A very good morning to all of you and welcome on the Sunrise Safari. My name is Jamie and this morning Fergus is on camera with me and we're going to be heading out to take you on a live safari from the Masai Mara and of course from South Africa as well. Because this is a live safari, it means send through your questions and your comments on hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. My plan for the morning, once we are able to get down to the Mara floor, well, let me explain a little bit about what happened first, and you can see a bit of behind the scenes while we drive. So essentially, we woke up this morning, got everything ready, and we had some problems with gremlins attacking us. So Scott and myself had to stay at the top of the hill until everything was sorted out. And so as a result, we can't actually get down to the bottom of the hill yet, because otherwise we won't have any signal. There's a glorious fig tree, some Angama guests, give them a big wave. Morning. And so we find ourselves pattering about here until everything is up and running. Which is great, because there's actually plenty to show you around here. I'm going to try and find the Ross's Tarako. Oopsie, found a tree. I'm going to try and find the Ross's Tarako that lives around our camp. Perhaps he'll pop out. We've got zebra. There's a herd of eland that lives around here. Some impala. Here we go. Here's some zebra. Looking very pretty in the morning sunlight. No, don't go away. Come back. I'll find you some other zebra to look at. There we go. That's our camp. Over there that you can see. Most important part of the camp, says Ferg. That being our kitchen, of course. Well, zebra have a tendency to come right into our camp in the middle of the night, which first of all makes for the odd surprise every now and again, especially because they keep trying to eat the tomato plant that we're cultivating outside of our tent. But they also really like to deposit their dung right on our front doorstep, or in the middle of the pathway. In fact, I don't know if you've noticed, Fergus, but we seem to be a bit overrun with zebra dung at the moment. The paths are positively carpeted. Luckily it's zebra dung, so it is in essence just grass. And we're definitely not going to complain about that. I've also seen them using our satellite dish as a scratching post, which we had to put a stop to, because it was a bit concerning. We didn't really want our satellite dish used in that way. Oh, I could also try and find you a blue flycatcher while we're up here. The nesting pair, we won't have signal. That's right outside the Angama kitchen. But there's one that lives around our tent. Okay, I'm going to go search for birdies and then make my way down the hill. Let's go across all the way to South Africa, where Byron is out and about.
Good morning everyone and welcome down in South Africa on Djuma. My name is Byron and with me on camera is of course VM this morning. We've got Louise in our final control. Now it's actually a cold Sunday morning for us. It's about 17 degrees Celsius or 63 degrees Fahrenheit and it's been quite windy during the night. So I'm not sure how much activity we're going to have around this early morning, but we'll see, you never know. Now, my plan for the first thing this morning is to go and have a look around the Hyena Den. I'm hoping that we've got some activity, maybe some youngsters around. The sun has just risen behind us, so maybe we're lucky. And I have seen a lot of hyena tracks around this morning already. I think there were a few actually moving around camp last night. And now that I think about it, oh wow, hang on, yeah, leopard tracks. There are some leopard tracks right here. That's good news. Now I'm just having a look here everyone. Let's see if I can show you these tracks quickly. Hold on. Now I'm trying to think if I had a dream. Now that I think about it, let me just jump off here. Maybe, VM, can you see these tracks here? Let me circle with the stick. Here's some very clear leopard tracks over here. Can you see that, VM? There we go. So some nice, looks like a male leopard, judging by the size, the width of the back pad. Beautiful 3 lobes at the back, and 1, 2, 3, 4 toes. Now, just judging by this track, just want to have a look. To be honest, I have a feeling that this was from earlier yesterday, so maybe early last night. And I'm telling you why I see that is because I can see some other little tracks around here. Oh, hang on, these are in fact on top of these tracks. It looks like a little genet has walked, a white-tailed mongoose has walked along here, and these leopard tracks appear to be oh, that's tricky. I don't want to make a mistake here, because now the reason why I want to work out whether the white-tailed mongoose tracks on top of the leopard tracks or vice versa is because we know a white-tailed mongoose is strictly nocturnal. That would have been moving around during the course of the evening. Now with the leopard, it could have been moving around any time during the course of yesterday afternoon or this morning. So if the white-tailed mongoose tracks are on top of the leopard tracks, that would age the leopard tracks to probably much earlier yesterday evening. Then it might not be worth us trying to track and find this leopard. It could be quite far already. However, if the leopard tracks on top of the white-tailed mongoose tracks, then possibly these tracks would have been from earlier this morning. So I'm just trying to have a good look around here, and it does appear as if these leopard tracks are on top of the mongoose tracks. I just want to have a quick look behind us. VM, is it alright if I just have a look here quickly? Let's see if I can see where these tracks go now. They go all along here. Alright, we'll jump on and just see, maybe let's just have a look and see which direction they go in. If they cross the road and they head directly south, just plug in here now. This is always very exciting. I do enjoy tracking early in the morning. Right, okay, so I wasn't dreaming. I was going to say, I thought, did I have a dream, or did I really hear a leopard sawing last night very close to camp? Apparently some of you say you did hear a male leopard calling very close to camp last night. So that would make sense. It sounded like it was right outside camp. But these tracks are a bit far. Now, I wonder, remember yesterday afternoon, those of you who did watch, yesterday afternoon we had an update that another male leopard was spotted on the access road leading to camp yesterday afternoon. We drove in this area and we couldn't find him, and we thought maybe he's hiding in a block somewhere. Now this is very close to where that leopard was spotted, so I wonder if this leopard then didn't get up and start moving around later in the evening, and that's possibly his tracks here. Alright, I'm going to have a look here and try and see exactly where these leopard tracks head. Let's go across to my friend Scott, who's up in the Mara at the moment. Let's find out what his plan is for the morning.
Hello everyone, and sounds like the safari has got off to a good start. Let's hope Byron has some luck tracking down that leopard. We've started off with some cuteness here. A very young eland and its mother. As the little baby turns broadside, you might actually just be able to see its umbilical cord poking out there. You can see it's hardened, which means it was born a few days ago. I'm told those umbilical cords can still be visible for about 2 weeks after a lot of these animals are born. And it's the first baby eland I have seen, and what I've realized is that most of the calving tends to appear in October, or at least it certainly has been the case this year. The topee, these eland, we've seen quite a few Thompson's gazelle babies. So it is the baby season for a lot of the herbivores, evidently. Wonderful. It's an absolutely beautiful, beautiful morning here in the Masai Mara. My name's Scott, and I'm teamed up with Seb on camera. now, like I said, it's incredibly beautiful. It's dead still. The people who are lucky enough to be floating around this beautiful place in a balloon today have hit the jackpot. And you'll be glad to know that Tayla is in one of those balloons. She's in the multicolored one. And she's taken the Nat Geo crew that are here with us on a little trip floating around the Mara, so she was very excited that she got the call up for that. I still need to make a plan to get up into one of those balloons. Now you can see the flames licking every now and then. Interestingly, I'm told it takes about 10 to 15 seconds for the effect of those flames to kick in. So you've got to kind of plan in advance, but as you can see, they are absolutely crawling along. So they're going to have a nice long balloon ride, possibly as long as an hour, due to the very still morning. I'm told by Manu, one of the cameramen who spent the most time on the balloons, that the flights can be as quick as 25 minutes. And obviously that's not ideal, because it can be half as long as you plan for. And also the landings can be quite interesting when it's windy. Wonderful. So our plan is to possibly head along the Mara River, unless of course we bump into something before we get to the roads that take us there. So that's what I'm hoping for. I'm not entirely sure what Jamie is going to do. I'm guessing she might want to go and try and relocate on the Sausage Tree Pride, where she's been spending a lot of time recently, so she's got her finger on the pulse with them. So just a little update from camp movements. We are saying goodbye to James and Kirsty today, which is quite sad, but it's not goodbye forever. They are just going back down to Djuma. I think they're both going to have a short break though before they do start off back there. So quite a few of the crew members are shifting around. Some of the Djuma guys are coming up to Kenya and vice versa. So a bit of chopping and changing. So you're no longer going to have the pleasure of being taken around the Mara with James, but you will have the pleasure of him being back in Djuma at some point in the next few weeks. There's also quite a strong likelihood that I'm going to end up back in Djuma as of mid-November, but we're just waiting on a few final plans from Nat Geo before we're going to know exactly what I'm up to. And as much as I do love the Masai Mara, how can you? I really would like to get back to Djuma and spend some time over there. On foot, doing the bushwalks, having the ability to track like Byron's doing this morning are things that we can't really do here. Now, if you haven't already sent through some questions or comments or thoughts, please do, using the hashtag Safari Live. As it is of course wonderful to communicate with you, and that's one thing that I absolutely love about Safari Live, is that we do have the biggest safari vehicle on the world. So in theory we should have a great vibe and atmosphere on these vehicles, because there are so many people joining along on the adventure. But of course, if you don't talk to us, then we don't know really that you're there. So it sounds like Byron's spending a bit of time on foot, which is a great move. And I think Jamie's in a no signal area, so you're going to be stuck with me for a short while, but it's definitely a good investment to allow Byron some time to focus on those tracks and not really focus too much on anything else until such point that he tracks down the leopard. Of course, if he's on foot, it's going to be very difficult for him to show you what he's doing, but hopefully the end results will provide you with a wonderful leopard to view. I'm definitely missing leopards. I haven't seen many since I've been here. I haven't had a huge amount of luck with the leopards. However, I mustn't be greedy, because I have been hugely fortunate in spending a great deal of time with cheetah, which is an animal that I haven't spent a a huge amount of time with in all the years that I've been guiding. Just making sure there's no cars behind us. And speaking of the cheetah, I'm also looking forward to heading back across onto the other side of the river, where we found we do get kind of more consistent cheetah sightings. We've just been doing quite a lot of work on the vehicles, getting them up to scratch and making sure they're in perfect working condition, so that when we do head across on these longer missions and nights out and full days out, that we're more comfortable. Hello D-Star, you'd like to know if we see any geckos out here, and I actually haven't seen one, which is interesting because I would expect to. Seb, have you seen a gecko yet?
Yeah, the mirror, yes, I think I have in my
Okay, well Seb's lucky. Seb's got one living in his tent. I've noticed the mosquitoes in the last few weeks have started becoming a little bit more abundant. I've got a spider web in the top of my roof that I just leave there to try and help with mosquito control. So yeah, I've got a spider working as my private mosquito security. But geckos, I haven't seen. And I mean, you know, our kitchen's completely open. We don't have any windows in the holes where there's supposed to be windows. And basically, it would be very easy for geckos to get in there, and it shouldn't take them a long time to realize that our artificial lights do act like bait stations for moths. They bring them in, so it's quite common for you to find geckos reaping the benefits of our artificial lights that we use. Just going to let this guy pass and then have a squiz at some jumbo, and have a squiz at some buffaloes. Good. So this looks to me like a bachelor herd of old boys, and there are some really impressive buffalo out here, both in terms of body size and in terms of horn size. These guys are looking quite shaggy at the moment. Look at how much mud is caked on this one's fur. Incredible. I wonder what it feels like as it dries out. I wonder how much it pulls on their fur as that mud begins to dry up and kind of crack into little puzzle pieces. A perfect layer of protection against any insects, and it also suffocates the insects that are stuck in there. So once they then rub off, all the insects that get suffocated will be peeled off as that mud breaks loose off the fur. But this guy's looking seriously shaggy. Phew, it's heating up here, so I'm going to remove a layer quickly. If you hear any shuffling about, that's what's going on there. Wait. Okay. Thank you, Buffalo. We do enjoy spending time with buffalo, definitely, but for me, I tend to spend more time with them if there's lion nearby, truth be told. And I don't think there are any lions nearby, so let's go and look for something like that. A lion or a cheetah or a leopard. What I'd also like to try and do is catch up to the balloon that Tayla's in. And at the rate that they're moving, I think we're going to be able to, and then we can snipe you some views of Tayla and our new Nat Geo friends in the balloon. So that's kind of a side goal. as we search for anything interesting to share with you. Another thing that I love about the mornings in this specific area is that we often have secretary bird sightings here. We were all sitting around the campfire last night discussing who's going to be the lucky person to see the secretary bird hunting some snakes first out of all of us. So that is something to look forward to. It's going to happen at some point, and now that we're heading into summer, who knows, maybe we will get lucky sooner rather than later. Marvelous. Well, you guys are going to get lucky. You're about to change the scenery and hop back on board with Jamie. She's just got down into the valley floor, so why don't you go and ask her what her plans are.
I think my plans are to head towards the sausage tree pride, the ones with the 4 cubs, the 2 females and the 4 cubs and the little pale lioness. I haven't seen them in 2 days, which for me is far too long. But first, as soon as I hit the valley floor, the first thing I have to check for is our pregnant zebra. There's a female with 1 ear who is bulging. How's that, Ferg? Would you like me to go lower? I just think, does that work? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Sorry, wait for Mila's gears to catch on. Whoa, no. Handbrake. That is very, very pretty. So I've been checking on them pretty much every single morning and afternoon that I've been out, waiting to see whether or not any new babies are tottering around. It's tricky though, because true to form for wild animals, they don't tend to stay in exactly the same place you left them the night before. So it's always a bit of a mission to try and find her. The 1 ear helps. It helps tremendously. Some lovely sounds. Mr. P, no, she's not in labour. At least, well, maybe she is, I don't know. I know she's very close because her milk's actually come in. So you can see that she's actually now carrying milk as well. Her teats are swollen, and when she walks, she waddles from side to side. That's the only way to describe it. I can only imagine she actually must be quite discomforted. So she could be in labour for all I know, somewhere around here. I haven't found her yet. She might also have given birth by now because I haven't found her in about 2 days. I've been trying to. But she's definitely a zebra that I've come to watch quite closely. I have to find her. It's not that easy though. There's quite a few zebra. But it's a bit like a treasure hunt. And I'm keen if you all are keen to try and find her. We can drive around in circles for a bit until we find her. Maybe she has a baby. She became, through a series of strange conversations, which happens quite a lot to us, she became Enya, because in Afrikaans 1 is Ian, and then she had 1 ear, so it became Ian Year, and then it became Enya, and then it became Eeyore, because somehow that sounds vaguely like it might be 1 ear. Either or, exactly. And what did you just call her now? Ferg? Veronica Van Gogh. That was it. So she doesn't have an official name, we've just been playing around. Okay, but she's not there. Come, let's find her. Okay, we're going to go and look for a mother-to-be. Of course, back in South Africa, there are many mothers wandering about, and one of them is a lovely hyena called Gwen.
Now, we have just got to the Hyena Den, and there's just 1 adult out at the moment. I don't see any sign of youngsters just yet, or any other adults around. Now I wonder if this wind hasn't got something to do with it. See, we right outside, but you might even see the grass moving in the wind outside the termite mound, or the den. And you see, it's not very pleasant weather for hyena to come and lie outside. And I think also that's why this adult is hunkered down, head down, trying to get out of the wind. That's possibly why there aren't any youngsters around just yet. But we'll spend a few moments here and just see. Maybe we're lucky and the 2 or 3 youngsters that are here come out and greet us. Now, I tried to follow those leopard tracks, and they headed west along our access road, along the Tayla access, so back towards Simbambili's side, and then it looks as if they crossed Impala Plains, and I think that leopard is out of our property already. Now, we've got a few signal issues on that side of the property at the moment anyway, so even if we did have any luck, we wouldn't be able to show you, but I think that male leopard has moved out of our property already, and that's why, again, I think it's possibly that Mvula, we got an update that he was seen yesterday afternoon around Sandy Patch, and I think he may have done a loop through the property and headed back out west again. We know he generally moves through that western section, so just west of our boundary. But I'm going to spend some time here, and then I'm going to head back towards Gallego Pan and check around that area. Maybe we have some signs of that leopard that we heard calling last night. That could be worth checking and having a look. So maybe we still have some spots this morning on drive. But we've got some different spots at the moment. This spotted hyena. I'm sorry, I didn't hear the name properly. There's a Sis or Fifth. Oh, Hiss. So, you asked how many cubs do the hyena usually have in a litter. So an adult hyena will give birth to between 1 and 3 cubs, depending on how successful they are. But it's between 1 and 3. So not many, not a large litter. And I think at the moment we've got 2 that are from 1 litter, and then 1 that's a little bit older at the moment that we've seen before. And some of you may recognize them when you see them. So, well, that's what I saw the other day. I don't know if there were any younger ones inside the den, but I came past here the other day. We just saw the youngsters, so we didn't spend a lot of time here. We don't want to be around the den if there are no adults. We want them to feel quite relaxed. The youngsters had seemed quite relaxed with us, which is good. But again, just from a sensitivity point of view, we're not going to hang around for too long if there's no adult around. Now, I think it's just the 2 really young ones. They look a few months old, and then a slightly older one, which I think is the one from that other den site that we used to, or that these hyenas used to use. They do move den sites from time to time. So we're going to sit here and wait with this adult hyena and see if perhaps the youngsters come out. And while we wait for this family, Scott has another family he would like to show you.
Yes, we've got lucky here. It's actually the first sighting I've had of jackals with their pups since I've been in the Mara. The 2 adults you can see clearly now, and their pups will be just breaking the kind of fringe of the grass. You may get a few glimpses of them moving around. It's tricky in this long grass, and they're quite far away. But there's 2 young pups, maybe a couple of months old, and looks like Mom and Dad are doing some grooming of one another. For now, there you can see a pup kind of just below the parents now. And the parents probably would have been out all night looking for snacks, and now come back to nurse the little pups rather, and relax for the day. Let's hope this, there we go, there's a better view. Cute. Hello, dumb shark. You'd like to know which of the safari animals has got the softest fur? I don't actually know. And the reason being is that we seldom actually get to touch these wild animals. Let me take a guess, though. I would say possibly leopard or cheetah, but their hair is quite coarse, I'm told. It's a good question, and I'm not too sure who would be the winner of that fur, the softest fur in the African wilderness. Seb, any ideas or thoughts or guesses? If you had to cuddle up with one animal on a cold night, what would it be?
Wild dogs and jackals must be quite...
Wild dogs?
Like dogs.
Yes.
Dogs at home.
Good.
Dogs, so
Yeah. So yeah, maybe these guys...
I'm sure the pups.
Yeah, I think I think a lot of the pups and the newborns are going to be nice and soft and cuddly, and just like us as humans, our skin will become a little bit more leathery as the animal's fur will become a little bit more coarse as they become older. Alrighty then. Don't disappear behind the bushes. Hello Fern, you'd like to know how many pups can jackals have in one litter? Usually from what I've seen, they often start off with 4. How cute is this, mum and dad playing with their kids? Teaching them some vital life lessons, or maybe disciplining them, telling them it's time to go back into their den. So yes, in all of the times I have come across jackal dens, both black-backed jackal and side-striped jackal, I've never seen more than 4. So in this case, you may have found that they did give birth to 4, but 2 of them sadly didn't make it. For who knows what reasons. There are lots of threats for all small animals, even the small predators. I remember the first time I actually found a jackal den. It was some side-striped jackals, and I was hugely excited by the fact that I'd found this den site. I'd just become a guide back in the Sabi sands and came across the den sites in the morning, told everyone back at camp, I found this den site, it's so awesome. Let's go back there in the afternoon and show some of the staff members and other guides. The camp wasn't too busy. And we got back into the area and we had the most incredible sighting of the mother and father trying to chase off a python which had eaten, I think it had eaten all of the pups in one sitting. There was 4 lumps in its body, so it had slithered into the termite mound while the parents were away, and obviously the parents came back and found this python there, and that's when we arrived on the scene. And yeah, like I say, we had an incredible sighting of these jackals nipping at the python's tail and the python coming on and hissing back at them. Of course, it was very sad, because they were such cute little pups, as are these. They seem to have disappeared though, so shall we. Hi Nikki, you'd like to know if these jackal, the mother and father, will stick together, and yes they do. They form monogamous bonds, so we often do see them in couples. It's not just when they're raising their pups, but it's a full-time relationship that they have. Okay, I want to see if we can try and catch up to Tayla now. I can see her, she'll pop into frame shortly as I take a bend on the road. There we go, you can see a balloon floating behind that tree over there. So I want to catch up to her, and while we do that, we are going to be sending you back to Jamelia Patterson as she continues to search for the zebra with one ear and a gigantically swollen belly that hopefully is going to provide us with a new zebra very soon.
That's what I'm hoping for, but I've really dug myself into a hole with this whole thing. Try and find one-eared zebra. I found a baby though, quite a small baby. Very tiny baby. So this one's only a few days old. Wait, little one, don't go. It's okay. Look at its little wobbly legs. It's not our zebra. It's not the one-eared zebra. And it is a terribly sweet little one. I actually saw it last night for the first time, but on our way home. And we came back quite late because we were trying to film a serval. Oh, look at it. And it was curled up next to the road, fast asleep. And I drove past it, and it barely even lifted its head until right up at the last minute. Sweet, fluffy creature. Okay, you keep looking at that zebra, and I'm going to try and spot the zebra with one ear. I really have dug myself into a hole, because I don't think I can find her again. There are a lot of zebra around. Now, Hess, while we watch little one move into suckle, you want to know how many babies does a zebra produce. She'll only have one at a time, so there are very few recorded cases of twins being born. So if a female lives for, let's say she lives on average about 25 years, give or take, and she has a baby roughly every 3 years or so, the gestation period is quite long. It's 11 months, 12 months sometimes. So that's quite a long gestation period. So let's say she has a baby once every 3 years. And let's say that in terms of her reproductive life, she maybe has 15 or so years. Then you're looking at about 5 babies, 6 babies for each zebra mare. That's really, I mean, if she's successful the entire time. It might be more because her baby might die and then she'll fall pregnant again sooner. It might be less because there might be other complications. So that's a sort of rough idea. Oh, but it's so cute. Look how curious it is. You're going to try and find a place to lie down. Yes, there you go. Oh, got to do lots of sleeping when you're that small. All that growing. Where's the little one with the black face? There's another one around here that's very, very noticeable. OD farming, a zebra actually have quite an interesting social structure, and in a way, a social structure that's actually sort of more similar to something like a gorilla or a primate of some sorts, rather than something like a lion or one of those predators. So the way that, or in fact other antelope. So the way that zebra function is they have a dominant stallion, and he has his harem of females. Oh, don't you go near, baby. You will get a kick to the face. Very, very protective over their little ones. Oh, shame. It was a rude awakening, hey, little one. So the stallion will have a harem of unrelated females and his offspring. And then there will be groups of bachelor stallions. So they will be together in a bachelor group. And when a stallion is at the point where he's big enough and strong enough, he will go and fight another stallion. And if he wins, he will take the stallion's daughter as his first mare of his harem. Or he will take the stallion's least favorite mare, so the one that he's had for the least amount of time. And then from there, it is basically a build-up of a collection of mares that the stallion gathers. Oh, it's so cute. And he will collect them all together. And slowly but surely, the first one that he gets will be his favorite, and she will be the highest ranking. She will be the one that decides which way the herd goes. She will walk in front, and the rest of the mares will fall into place behind her in a hierarchy. And that hierarchy is quite fiercely upheld. So if any zebra happens to get ahead of her, or perhaps doesn't remember its place, it'll find itself getting kicked and bitten. And in the initial stages of a mare arriving with the harem, she actually has a very, very difficult time because she's rejected initially, and it's only because the stallion keeps her there that she actually stays. Okay, speaking of animal hierarchies and the different social structures, apparently Byron is across in South Africa with another fascinating tale of social structures to tell you.
We do have a interesting social structure with the Hyena clan, and that's because the females are the dominant ones. They are the ones that basically control the clan, and you have a queen hyena that is usually the one that gives birth to cubs and raises them. Occasionally she will allow the next in line within the hierarchy to give birth to cubs to expand on the clan. But for the moment, we've just got the one adult here, no sign of any other youngsters. As I said, I think it's probably got something to do with the wind and the cold conditions we're experiencing at the moment. It's starting to warm up slightly. The sun is rising behind us, so maybe They do come out a little bit later, probably this afternoon. I think what we're going to do, though, is we're going to leave this hyena. It hasn't moved. It's lifted its head once. And as you can see, it doesn't look like it's very comfortable in the wind. Just trying to keep its head down, resting. Probably been moving around a lot during the course of the night. And actually, while we've been driving around, I've seen so many hyena tracks all over. Just about every road we've driven this morning, there have been hyena tracks. It's amazing the distance they cover during the course of the evening when they're looking for food and moving together, scavenging around. And so there are a lot of hyena tracks around, and just this one adult here, though. Like I said, I don't see any others. We have checked around, and the den does not look active with the youngsters. I think they're staying inside where it's cooler. Izzy, now you asked how many litters of cubs do I think a female can produce in her life. Now, Izzy, I'm not sure. I don't know. I'd have to try and work it out for you quickly. Let's see if we can. I think the lifespan of a hyena is around 15 or 18 years. Maybe some of you can check that for me and just let me know if I'm right. I would assume that's about the lifespan of a hyena. Again, it depends on the area, depends on competition, other clans coming in, trying to take over. Where are these hyena? And then I think they've got a gestation period. Now I'm just trying to think exactly how long it is. I think hyena about 90 to 100 days. 90 to 100 days, I think, if I'm right. So not far off a leopard. A leopard's about also 90 to 100 days. The lion is about 110 days gestation period. So all around that 3 month, just over 3 month period. Now I'm trying to think of a hyena if I can see anything regarding the lifespan. Don't have anything in this book. Let me just see. Yeah, unfortunately, this book doesn't give us a lot of information on. This is mainly for the imagery of the animals, but I wonder. I would assume around at least 5 or 6 litters in their lifespan. I would guess. Also, it's different. You must remember that if it's only a queen that usually gives birth within a clan, then she's going to be the only one who raises cubs. Like I said, she may allow some other females, maybe 1 or 2 other females, to also give birth and raise cubs within that den. I have seen that before, but it doesn't happen often. So it's difficult to say. I mean, hyena clans, it all depends on the area, it depends on how successful they are. I think there are a lot of factors that need to be taken into account to find out exactly how many litters they are able to have. Will that female get pushed out at some point? Then she won't be able to have cubs anymore. So it's difficult, but I would guess around at least 5 or 6 litters on average, I would say. Okay, now it sounds like Tayla McCurdy is up in the balloon this morning over the Mara. I'm very jealous, but Scott is apparently chasing him down with the vehicle. I wonder, he must have a nice view of them.
We are about to have a spectacular view, I think, of Tayla floating about. And I just need to turn the vehicle around and get into better position. I think because Tayla's let the pilot know that we're doing this, the pilot may try and purposefully drop them down to a nice low spot so that they float just above us. And I think it's happening. You can see the balloons coming down quite quickly. Let's stop here. This is so cool. So keep an eye out for Tayla McCurdy there. There you can see her. She's in the middle. I just saw a flash of blonde hair. The peace sign is one of the Nat Geo guys. His name is Fritz. That's Hannah blowing kisses, and Madeleine behind them in the middle. So those are the 3 Nat Geo crew members that are here. And this is absolutely perfect. I'm going to snap a few shots for them. Let's hope that the balloon goes the right way. Jeez, it is coming right at us. I'm actually panicking a little bit. This balloon is so low. But these pilots are absolute wizards. So, oh yeah, such cool pictures. Oh, morning guys. Have fun. That was the coolest thing. I'm not sure if you could hear the flames there. Sure, what a rush. I hope I got some good pictures.
There will be nice screenshots, I'm sure.
Yeah, not too bad. They're a little bit dark, to be honest, but some nice ones for them to take with and show their friends. Well, both Tayla and the Americans from Nat Geo. And they are having, I think, possibly one of the longest balloon rides that's happened for a while, because it is just such a dead still morning. And what a way to start the day. Imagine waking up, it's a really early morning. They left camp at 4:30 to be at the balloons nice and early. And Jumbo! So it's an early start, it's very dark, but you're up in that balloon as the sun is rising. You literally rise up with the sun, provided it's not covered by clouds, which it certainly wasn't this morning, and then floats around for anywhere from half an hour to an hour, and then you plunk down somewhere in the wilderness, and there's a wonderful breakfast set up for you with bacon and eggs and all the niceties, as well as champagne. So Manu, our one cameraman, he started here and he probably thought he just got the best job in the world. I mean, I think all of us consider ourselves lucky in the various roles we play. But he nailed it. He came in straight into the balloon slot, having champagne breakfasts every morning. Oh, we were about to send you back to Jamie, but I'm going to just spend a minute or two with some of the most incredibly beautiful birds. I'm told Jamie is still looking for the one-eared pregnant zebra, so she hasn't given up. How exquisite are these birds, especially with the perfect morning sunlight in our favor. Crowned cranes, so appropriately named because they do have that elaborate crown. Speaking about things that are soft, I wonder what that crown feels like. As well as those feathers, I mean, it is just remarkable how they keep themselves looking so immaculate. I haven't seen any here yet, so I'm wondering if they're going to start moving around quite a lot more now that it's the rainy season, because they get better options for feeding and more insects. Imagine seeing a few little babies of these. That's what I'm looking forward to showing you guys. Some of these kind of stranger babies, baby crowned cranes. Imagine seeing a baby ostrich. That would be another wonderful one to see. Need to take off another layer for me for the rustling. I'm so stoked with the way that balloon flyby worked out. How lucky. And it really is quite something how those pilots can control those balloons so well. Both Seb and I were quite nervous at one stage at the low level it was coming at us at. Hello, I think it's Aubrey. You've mentioned like that these cranes look like they're wearing straw hats, and I think that's a great description. Certainly straw-coloured, possibly not your average shape of a straw hat, but certainly the right colour. Ooh, what have you found to nibble on there? A little grasshopper. It's so hard to tell. They eat so quickly. Hello, Roshni. You'd like to know if... Oops, sorry for shaking the car on there. You'd like to know if crowned cranes are monogamous. And I'm guessing they are, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to check in the booklet quickly to make sure. Let's have a quick look here, Seb. I haven't found what I'm looking for yet, which is probably a bit of an error, but let's have a look at how cute these little ostriches are. I'm going to try and get the sunlight right. How cool would that be to see those tiny little things, like I was saying earlier? As you can see, they're very well camouflaged, as are a lot of birds that are born on the ground or hatch on the ground. They rely on cryptic camouflage to stay away from possible threats. Now, let me have a quick look for these cranes or storks. I've been so terrible with my bird book that I've lost track of who's who and what's what. This might take longer than I thought. Uh-oh. We're going to have to go to the index, Roshni. Those are the Latin names. We don't want those. Alumino P, QRST, QR Storky. There we go. I was right there. Oh no, I'm not looking for storks, I'm looking for cranes. Jeez. Clearly I didn't have enough coffee this morning. What is going on here? Okay. I promise you we will work this out at some points. Finally. So, there we have it. There are two types of crowned cranes. The black crowned crane, which doesn't occur here, only much further north in and around an area called Lake Turkana. And that's that one over there, sorry. The one we're seeing here is the grey crowned crane, which is very beautiful. And it should be able to tell me here whether they are monogamous or not. Just says pairs, family groups, and larger flocks are widespread. It doesn't actually confirm that they are. So possibly not monogamous, but I'm happy for any of you guys to double check and let us know, because my book doesn't have enough information on the matter. Sadly. All right. Very good. Phew, can't believe how hot it is for this stage of the morning. Hello, Linda. You'd like to know if the crowned cranes kind of get along with secretary birds, or do they have any kind of competitions or fights, because they are quite similar sized and shaped birds. They hunt in the same way, walking through the plains looking for insects. I would guess no, but from time to time I think you may find the odd secretary bird fighting with a crowned crane and vice versa. What you may also find is that secretary birds may try and catch and kill the chicks of the crowned cranes. Both of them are predatory birds, but the secretary bird, you could say, is a better equipped predator with a sharper hooked beak, more effective limbs for kicking down their prey. The cranes are more of a placid predator relative to the secretary bird. So if they were to get into a tussle, I would put my money on the My sunglasses strap just fell off, as you may have noticed. Just slithering down my body. So yeah, I'll definitely put my money on the secretary bird if they did get into a tussle with a crane. But I'm guessing it's not going to happen too often. The thing is, there's such strange things that happened out here. Like sometimes you may have buffalo and elephants fighting. Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for whoever's done some research. I didn't quite catch your name. I'm sure Chantal will provide it to me again. Easy. And thank you for saying and confirming that the crowned cranes are in fact monogamous and pair for life. Thank you very much, Izzy. I do appreciate your assistance, as I'm sure does everyone else. Now, there are 2 vehicles off at our 1 o'clock, possibly 1 or 2 more, and it is in an area where Scar, a big male lion, likes to often snooze when he's across the side of the river in this area. So, with a little bit of luck, we'll be finding Scar in the next few minutes, but in the meantime, while we get into position, we will be sending you back to Jamie for an update on her adventure.
That's exciting news from Scott. I hope he does manage to find Scar for you. We are searching for the sausages, of course. Of course. I haven't seen them in a while, therefore I have to go and find the sausage tree pride. So, last time I saw them, they were over there. Let's check their drainage line quickly. The sausage tree dugger. Watch, I'll pick the wrong side. I'll find them, but we'll be on the wrong side. I've given up, by the way, on the one-eared zebra. I tried. I really tried. But needle in a haystack. There must be about, I don't know, 300 odd zebra at the base of that hill. Exactly, Fergus. It's playing Where's Wally in black and white. Which is actually, sounds like quite a lot of fun. But, unfortunately, I cannot spend my entire morning playing Where's Wally in black and white. Or Where's Waldo? I think is the American version. Those were the best books when we were kids. Oh goodness. It's a bit mushy here. There are some really innocent looking puddles on the sides of these roads that are not innocent at all. And they turn out to be, if you happen to accidentally put your wheel in them, they turn out to be about 2 feet deep. You've got to be very careful not to slide into them. Okay, here's our buffalo herd that like to chase the sausages, and vice versa. Jeffrey, you want to know what if you wanted to skydive from the Mara, would the balloon pilot be able to take you up high enough? I'm going to go ahead and say no, probably not. You'd say yes, you think I could do it? But the winds up there are crazy. I think that's what the pilots have said to me in the past. While I think it is physically possible for the balloon to go right up, I think in the end, Jeffrey, you might land somewhere over Tanzania, which would probably not be your goal if you wanted to land in the Mara. You'll land up in Rwanda, or land up in Lake Victoria. There's all sorts of places you could land that would not be where you wanted to land. And apparently, or Australia. Where the winds are really strong. Really strong. Hey, buffaloes. So, in essence, I think while it's physically possible that the balloon could take you high enough that you'd be able to jump out and survive, manage to get your parachute open at the point where it was safe. I know obviously there are people who are experts in that sort of crazy behavior. I think that the winds, there's a very good reason why you only ever see the balloons in the morning, and why you never see them right up high, and why they never take off from the top of the escarpment. That is beautiful. How stunning. These buffalo are so massive here. We saw the chap with the curly horns a little bit earlier as well. Hello, boys. You seen a lion? By any chance? Yes, lion. You know, sort of tanny colour, 4 paws, claws, teeth. Christine, you've obviously come across the term the boss, which I have to admit always entertains me. It's not the name for the horns, or the entire head of horns. Yes, boy, I know. It's the base of the horns. So where they meet in the middle, where you can see that sort of solid, almost helmet that buffalo wear, that is the boss. It's the base of the horns there. That is solid bone. It's several inches of solid bone. And that is what makes them such formidable creatures when they are angered or scared. Or fighting with each other, actually. And although it is rare to see, if you ever do see 2 male buffalo crashing together, the sound is actually quite terrifying. It's this crunch, thud, as they barrel into each other and they whack each other on the boss. And of course, there's several inches of bones there to protect them from brain damage, although, you know, they're not the brightest creatures to start with. Very much instinct driven. Gillian, their horns are unbelievably heavy. So we obviously have encountered many a buffalo skull in the past that has been killed by lions or hyenas, and you can pick it up, and that big one that was around Buffelshoek Dam, I think probably, okay, this is the whole skull, but it's the top part of the skull and the horns as well. I would say probably weighed somewhere in the region of around about 15 kilograms, possibly more. It was heavy to pick up. So over 30 pounds. That includes the bones of the face, but really most of that is the horn. Most of that are the solid horns. So they're very, very heavy. Exceptionally powerful. And you don't want to run into an angry buffalo, or vice versa, actually. That's the real problem. As we skid along in search of the sausages and perhaps even a secretary bird to complete the morning's challenge, let's go across to Byron, who's in search of heartbeats in the sands. Little birdie.
Anything at the mountains actually it's proving to be quite difficult this morning, which is okay. It's starting to warm up now, so maybe we start getting a bit more activity from the animals. Maybe they start moving around a little bit more. Who knows, maybe we bump into something. And my first sighting of the European bee-eaters. We had a lovely little view of them just flying past us, but quite low. Nice to see them back again. Now, I said we'd heard them the other day. I haven't seen them yet. I just heard them flying overhead. But nice to see them now. So we'll try and get some of those European bee-eaters on camera for you. Really are beautiful birds. One of my favorite birds, summer birds that we get, the summer visitors. It's really wonderful colors. Wouldn't mind finding a herd of elephant. Maybe go check down towards some of the little water holes, the dams, with it warming up. You never know. Maybe something decides to go down and drink. Kim, you asked, what is my favorite animal to track? No, elephant, because it's easy. Kim, I trying to think what I really enjoyed tracking. I do enjoy tracking leopards. It's not always easy, and the thing is, out here, so as you all know, I still do a lot of guiding in other areas, and that it's quite different when we're presenting. And the reason I say that is because, like this morning, for example, we saw those male leopard tracks. But often what we would do, if I was guiding guests, and usually I work with the tracker, we would stop the vehicle, park it somewhere, and leave the guests on the vehicle for a while, and we would go off and walk. And we would track and try and find that animal. It's a bit difficult when we're presenting because we can't stay off the vehicle for too long. So we'll track for a short period of time. But if these tracks really go off into a thicket or through a block, it's difficult for us to stay off the vehicle for a long period of time. So it's different. It's tricky to manage the different type of guiding, I suppose. But it's still fun. We still track. We still find here. I know Tristan loves tracking too, and he's a really good tracker. He manages to spot the tracks and identify tracks really well too. I enjoy it. I enjoy tracking. It's a science. It's an art. And you're always learning little intricacies about certain tracks, how to identify an animal, or perhaps tell a story. What was the animal doing there? What was it looking for? Was it hunting? Was it walking? Was it running? All those. You can tell so much just by looking at the tracks. But yeah, leopard are great to try and track, and exciting. It's not always easy, but it's the best feeling when you find fresh tracks. You realize they're fresh, and you follow them, and you find that leopard very soon afterwards. It's a wonderful, wonderful feeling. I get very excited when we listen to the bush and you hear signs of animals, either alarm calling or little sounds that give you a clue that there might be something there. And when we find it, I get very excited. There's one of VM's favorite animals, a giraffe. Off to the left there, VM.
I don't see it.
VM says he doesn't see it. For some reason, VM is not a fan of a giraffe. That's okay. There we go. Actually, well hidden through those branches. But it's nice to... So VM, I've only done this so that we can stop and listen out to try and find you a lion or a leopard. VM prefers the big cats. So there's method in my madness, VM. It's a bit tricky. The giraffe's quite far from us, about 100 meters from us, I would say, maybe just less, 80 meters or so. You can see it blends in quite well into that landscape, especially with those dry branches. Alright, well, I'm going to try and continue to find some other animals and hopefully some cats, especially for VM on camera. But Scott apparently has got some. Let's go see what his cats are doing.
We certainly do, and we're in luck. This looks like it could well be Scar and one of his lovers. Now, just before we got into the sighting, they did get up and possibly mate. We just saw a little bit of movement, and the fact that the two of them are together means there's a strong likelihood that they are mating. And I believe yesterday, somebody, I think it may have been James or one of our guides, was lucky enough to spend some time with, in all likelihood, these same two. I'm not too sure how long they have been mating for, but with a bit of patience, we'll hopefully see them get up and move and make sweet love once again. On average, they kind of tend to mate every 15 minutes, but that's a very broad average. And now that it's heating up, they may slow down to once an hour or once every half an hour. he is an absolute brute of a male lion, and if you haven't seen him yet in all his glory, I would strongly suggest sticking around until he does pop his head up, because he has got some incredible features. Understandably, with a name like Scar, he's got a massive scar over his left eye, which makes him look like he's got huge amounts of street cred, which he does. He's a very well-known lion, possibly one of the most photographed male lions in the Mara at the moment. His mane flops forward in the front, and it's incredibly dark when he is standing up. I think Tayla may have seen two younger male lions a little bit further, not too far away from here, from her balloon. So how cool is that? She sent me a message saying she had spotted some. So we might head there a little bit later. But for now, we shall stay right here. I haven't been lucky to spend much time with Scar. I think I've only seen him once or twice. Hello, OD Farming. You'd like to know if this lioness is not part of a pride because she's here all alone. And no, that's not the case. What you tend to find very often is when lioness are in season, they will depart in search of a male, and then they'll kind of stick around the male and whatever he gets up to. I mean, it's fair to say that the males do follow the females around when they are in season, but they often separate themselves from the pride because the pride will be carrying on with their own business, while these guys focus on making the next generation of lion cubs. And in 3 months' time, if this love-making affair goes to plan, they will have some babies. So that is something to look forward to. James has been having some great time with the tiny cubs of the Black Rock Pride, and we don't have any tiny cubs in this general area that we know of, so it'll be good to have that to look forward to. And I'm judging OD Farming from the area that we're in, that there's about 3 or 4 lionesses that live within this pride that we think is called the Mogoro Pride. And like I said just before we got into the sighting, Scar spends time on both sides of the Mara River, but he has been he's been across there for a lot of time over the last few weeks on the western side of the river, with in all likelihood the Paradise Pride, one of the other groups of ladies that he spends time with. He's got some flies keeping him busy, doesn't seem too bothered, looks like one's on his eye. Hello, David. You'd like to know how hot would the lion's mane make them? Well, I would imagine, relative to a lioness that doesn't have a mane, a lot hotter. I mean, it's a ginormous beanie, very thick fur, that on hot summer days, like we're having today, may cause a little bit of discomfort for them, but it's a very important part of their anatomy, that thick furry mane, because it acts like a helmet when they fight with one another. Sorry, it sounds like there's some static coming through. That's a bit strange because I've hardly moved. Okay, maybe my cables are getting a little bit tired. How's that? Well, I think we might have to do some troubleshooting here. It may just be that my cable that runs from my mic receiver into the earpiece may have caused some trouble. Good, well, like I said, we're not going to go anywhere, but for now, while these guys have a break between sessions, we will be sending you across to Jamelia, who has another one of the big 5. Ooh.
We're doing well this morning. We've seen some really lovely things. We've seen the lions and the buffalo and now an elephant bull, just to add to the beauty and the peace of the morning. Hey, mister. Now don't go away. You've been so patient with us. He did give us a little sideways glance when we drove down. We sort of had to go through quite a large dip and then up the other side, and we popped out in front of us. And he did give us the little sideways look that elephants are so good at. And Ferg raised a good point. Even though you can't, at a distance, you actually can't see their eyes all that well, you still know when you'd be being given the stink eye by an elephant. That little sideways glance. I think what he's searching for in this particular spot, I think he's searching for the seeds of the Balanites tree. Now that's why he's here, and he's sort of testing the ground with his trunk. Look at those amazing feet. Look at those wrinkles on the bottom, each one a completely unique pattern to the elephant concerned. And if you do spend huge amounts of time tracking elephants, there are people who have studied the fact that they can actually get to know individuals by their gait and by the patterns on the bottom of their feet. You can also calculate the height of an elephant, or the size of an elephant, by the size of their foot. And obviously their stride as well. Using the incredibly dexterous tip to his trunk to search for seeds. Here we go, found one. Such an incredibly sensitive sense of smell, because he can't see down there. He can't see that spot where his trunk is touching. Everything is guided by touch and a sense of smell. The tip of the trunk is unbelievably sensitive. Look at that. Look at how dexterous that work. Now, Francis, in Israel, you say that you're always amazed. Oh, did you find one? You did a little backward step there. Something exciting there. Oh, something minuscule and exciting there. Francis, you say that you're always amazed that such big animals have such small eyes. They do, but they've got very expressive eyes as well. Oh, this is fascinating to watch. Such delicate work. Seemingly for so little reward. Tiny, tiny seeds, but obviously worth it in terms of their nutrient value. And their taste, most likely. Must ask Scott about his experience with an elephant and his GoPro that he put on the ground near some marula fruit. The footage is absolutely hilarious because the elephant picked it up and put it in his mouth. And then spat it out and kicked it. It was very funny. And the behind the scenes footage is of Scott sitting in the car going, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Naturally curious. Is that a good spot that you found, boy? Sometimes what you will see when they're doing this is they'll walk up to the tree and they'll give it a really jolly good shake to loosen up all of the seeds that are still up there. He might even have done that, although this is not a big bull elephant and this is quite a large tree, so I'm not sure how well he would have managed. But he might even have done that just before we arrived. And you sometimes see them rear up on their back legs and push against the tree with their front legs. I think it's fascinating to watch. I've also seen an elephant climb up onto a fallen tree before. All four legs at one point off the ground. Ahmed, it's something that we do see. Oh, is he going to go shake the tree? No. He's going to go walk past the tree. Something that we do see, unfortunately, is one of those sad sights. You want to know how long an elephant would last with a super short trunk. The answer is it would probably be okay. It would probably survive. The shortest I've ever seen was a bull elephant in the Sabi sands that had a trunk that was basically about a third. It was about the top third. And although feeding for him was clearly difficult, he was still managing. And what he would do is he'd create a ball of grass with his feet, and then he'd hunch his whole body over and use the remaining trunk to actually push the grass into his mouth. It's a sad sight because most of the time the reason that those elephants have short trunk is thanks to human beings and their snares. Occasionally it's a crocodile injury, but most of the time it's something that's been caused by human beings. It's always very sad, and obviously nothing can be done once that trunk is gone. Oh, here's something very interesting, and I'm not going to delay for one moment. Let's send you back across to the sands where something very interesting is happening with an elephant. No, leopard thing. Gosh.
Look here. Finally our search has paid off, and we found a leopard. Beautiful young leopard. A young male. Now, when we found him, he actually had a ball of elephant dung in his mouth. Oh, this is wonderful. What a nice surprise. We're down in the drainage line, in the Mulwati drainage line. I'm just going to keep quiet as he walks past. What a beautiful view. And I actually heard two Franklins just give little calls. And I was speaking about this earlier. About, oh, where's he going? What's he doing? He's very playful this morning. Hold on, let me reverse. He seems to be just very playful. He's brushing his scent up against that branch. And we'll get a nice view of him through there. Look at that. Now, leopards do that. Big male leopards do that when they're scent marking. It's interesting. I mean, this young male is still a bit young. I don't think it'd be scent marking or territory marking just yet. Now, what I want to do is I want to turn around quickly while I've got a chance, because I'm scared I lose him. He's moving quite quickly. Hold on a second. That is wonderful. What a nice surprise. As I said, just heard two Franklins give little calls. And that's the thing. I was talking about it earlier, listening to the bush, listening out to signs of these animals. I'm just going to try and call the other guides in the area. They've also been looking for leopards and different animals this morning. Taxton and Aubrey, do you copy? Taxton or Aubrey, do you copy? We've just located a young male leopard. We are in the Mulwati Junction. Hang on, he's coming this way, everyone. Oh, look at that, he's jumped into this, what appears to be a quarry. Look how playful he is. He's very playful this morning. And just as I thought, you know, with the temperature starting to warm up a little bit, the wind, it is still blowing. But look at that. But it's died down a little bit, so maybe that's why. Oh, he's putting on such a show for us this morning.
Hello everyone. Sorry, it seems like Byron's in a bit of a shaky signal area, as I'm sure you gathered. But well done on him finding you, old Tumba. And what a treat, lion and leopard, amongst lots of other things this morning. Now, this lady has her head pricked up. She was, oh sorry, not Tumba, it's Hosana, Tumba's sibling. So she kind of was searching, or staring rather, off into the distance. A few topi got her attention, and you may find that she's quite hungry, having been focused on mating with old Scar for the last few days possibly. They may have not had a meal since they started making love. And ordinarily, I mean, the theory is that when predators are mating, that's all they focus on for the 3 to 5 day period. But of course, if an easy opportunity does present itself to them, they will make the most of it. I've seen both lion and leopard mating with kills. For now, though, I don't think luck is on their side, because the topi that she was looking at have disappeared off into the bushes. Now, as we kind of presumed a little bit earlier, even though they can mate with a high repetition every 10 to 15 minutes, that doesn't seem to be the case now, which means a couple of things. They may have had a busy night, and they could well be coming towards the end of the mating, so it tends to become less frequent and also less of a violent affair towards the end of the mating. Less growling and snarling at one another. Hello, Anissa. You would like to know what is the success rate of lions mating, and phew, that is a tricky one. I'm guessing it's fairly high. I don't think that they would spend 3 to 5 days and not fall pregnant, but a lot will depend on the individual lion, of course. When you start getting an old lioness, they may not be as fertile as when they are in their prime. And you also get, obviously, old males who may also not be as fertile as they get older. But it would be something very, very difficult for us to monitor and keep track of, especially here, because there's so many lions and it's hard to work out who's who. Back on Djuma, where we've got less traverse and spend our time focused on more specific animals and prides, it's a bit easier to be like, well, this lioness mated, so in 3 months' time we can expect cubs. And to be honest, most of the times that I have seen predators mating and been able to follow them closely enough to determine whether they actually do give birth, more often than not they do. Once you've waited that 3-month gestation period, very often you do get the joy of spending time with little cubs. So thank you. Somebody corrected me. I got my left and right confused. I said that Scar had a big scar over his left eye, but it's actually his right eye. And you can actually see portions of it here, that little bit of black that you can just make out on the edge of his fringe. And I'm not sure how long ago he got that scar, but he definitely has been in quite a number of battles. And that is something that I've never really seen, a full-blown fight between male lions, and it would be an incredible affair to be able to share with you. So I think it's just a matter of time before that does happen. At some point, be it on Djuma with the Birmingham boys, or here with this coalition. His coalition, there's, I think, 2 other coalition members. I've never actually seen him with other males, but he apparently does have 2 other partners in crime, I believe. But as is often the case with established dominant male lions, they will tend to split up and do their own thing once they have set up their territory and done all the hard work early on. A lot more teamwork is required when they're establishing their territory than there is once it is established. Hello, Lauren in Illinois. You'd like to know if I know how old Scarface is. And I don't know exactly, but I'm guessing he's somewhere around 9 or 10. But I do not know for sure. I cannot be certain. It's definitely fair to say he is coming to the end of his prime. And it'll be interesting to see how much longer he can reign dominance. He's been injured quite a few times in battles, like I say. A lot of the injuries are on his legs. And I think he's actually been operated on 3 times. So there have been interventions to assist him recover from the wounds that he sustained from other battles, which obviously helped him greatly in terms of recovering. And who knows, maybe if it wasn't for those interventions, he wouldn't be around now. But I think it's definitely fair to say he is coming towards the end of his days. And it'll be definitely quite sad to see them go. The demise of a male lion is often a very sad thing. They go from being, the king of the jungle to slowly becoming weak. Their teeth become blunt and often break. So getting food and eating can be difficult. And obviously when a young, strong, new coalition comes into the area, then the old males take a walloping, which is kind of sad to see, but they, Scar would have done the same thing in his heyday, so it's just one of those things that you can't control, and I guess the male lions live the good life up until such point that they get thrown out by the next coalition, and it's quite disturbing in that you see, obviously, the old males getting chased off and often beaten by the young males, and also then what happens is the young males kill the cubs. So let's say, for example, a young coalition came in within the next 4 or 5 months, just after what we are hoping will be some new lion children. She'll give birth to them in 3 months, and any time thereafter, if a coalition does come in, they will kill those cubs because they don't belong to them, and then chase off Scar and try and make love with her. So it can often be a lot of turmoil created when coalitions do take over. Come on, guys, please show us your business. I've hardly seen you, Scar, and at the moment we don't have the best view. Hello, Nasco. You'd like to know if anyone knows kind of which cubs would be Scars in this general area. Well, I think it's fair to say a lot of the Paradise Pride, which mainly spends time on the other side of the river as far as we know. This could be a lioness from the Paradise Pride, but I'm guessing it's not. I'm guessing the Paradise Pride is more based on the other side of the river, and that's why I took a guess that this lioness is from the Mogoro Pride. And there's another pride, there's a few prides that we aren't exactly sure of, and a few other lioness that kind of floats about. So I'm guessing he could be father to many cubs, possibly from 3 or 4 different prides. And that's not uncommon for males to have 3 or 4 groups of ladies that they become the father of the cubs. What could also happen, Nascar, is that it may not just be him mating with the prides that fall within their territory. You may find his coalition partners also get lucky from time to time. So that is also a reality, and he will tolerate and accept the offspring of his coalition partners, just not other lions that he is not in a team with. Good, well, we're going to continue to wait here patiently. I'm guessing at some point in time they will make sweet love once again. But for now it's looking a bit sleepy, so let's send you back to Jamie, who's in a less sleepy scenario.
Well, less sleepy indeed, but still perfectly peaceful as some elephants move along the base of the escarpment. And just to sort of give you an idea just how tiny they look up against these trees. Now just imagine trying to find a cheetah somewhere around here up against the rocks.